Today on the Extreme channel, we get as extreme as you can imagine. That's right. Today we are looking at Silver Surfer Phase 4. What the hell does that mean? Well, this right here was Phase 1. It is actually my favorite statue in my collection. Then this museum style was Phase 2. This To Catch a Predator was Phase 3. And here we have Phase 4. Of all these statues, this giant 1/4 scale, unpainted statue of Silver Surfer standing on Galactus' hand. That's a mouthful.
That's what she said.
Damn, it's big! As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we are giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey guys, thanks for tuning into the Extreme channel. If you're new here, we are all about extreme collectibles, especially Silver Surfer. I love Silver Surfer. He's my favorite comic character, and he just started going the other way, but he's my favorite comic character, and I have tons of Silver Surfer statues. Check out this video right here where I did a countdown of them, and I talked about all the future ones coming in. Now, since then, there's a lot more. However, today we're going to look at this guy. So this is a custom statue. It means it's a private, unlicensed commission. Marvel did not approve this, and they made 65 of them. We're going to talk about that in value because we're going to do an extreme review today. Now, obviously, we're not going to look at the paint because this came only as an unpainted statue. So that means Mrs. X is going to have to get her feet wet with alkali chrome or chrome. That's right, because my wife actually got into painting statues last year. She painted my thing, this big rock hard one right here. And if you're thinking, my God, this guy is annoying and immature, well, maybe that's why I like Silver Surfer so much. Silver Surfer is a calm, quiet, humble guy, for the most part, who has been a long-time standing Marvel hero. He actually started out on his planet Zenla as kind of a humanoid figure. He wasn't silver as he's supposed to be, or without man parts, and never rode a surfboard through the cosmos and had the power cosmic. Now, the power cosmic is kind of his superpower, if you will. He's one of the most powerful Marvel characters out there. He's so powerful, he keeps changing directions of the turntable. But anyway, he was kind of a humanoid form on his planet Zenla. Then Galactus, who's not quite a god, but he helps balance the universe, the devourer of planets, who I've actually done a review of this statue right here, came and was going to destroy his world. So Norrin Radd, as he was known at the time, said, you know what? I am going to sacrifice myself. I'll be your slave. I'll find other planets for you to consume. And he helped Galactus for a number of years, killing off billions. Then he decided, you know what? Killing billions is bad. So I will stop that. And since then, he's tangled both against and with tons and tons of different Marvel characters. He often goes head-to-head with Thanos, and those are some of my favorite comics growing up. He's a well-known character within the Fantastic Four comics. And I'm really excited because recently I did a brand new Silver Surfer display here in my basement. Not only a Silver Surfer display, but a Fantastic Four display. If you want to see what those look like, make sure to check out the Extreme channel's social media. Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, as I post exclusive content on there. But enough about all that. Let's get to the star of the show, and let's take a look at the review of this guy. So, believe it or not, I actually own another Silver Surfer on Galactus' hand. It's this custom piece right here. So quite a bit different. He's coming out of a wormhole. He is totally chromed. It's hard to judge those two because the concepts are a little bit different despite the fact they're both on Galactus' hand. So let's look at this one. Here you see Galactus' hand, and as you see, this one's quite bigger than the other one, so I think it's scaled more correctly because Silver Surfer, in my mind, was about 1/10 to 1/15 scale compared to Galactus, 10 to 15 times smaller. And Galactus, I think, could actually even change his shape, but this hand is humongous. And there's a few different display options that we're going to look at. So Silver Surfer is standing on the hand with his board in his hand, and again, that's kind of optional. We'll talk about that in design. Very stoic, very powerful. You know, and what I really love about this is his pose really talks to his portrait. And he doesn't look like a happy guy because when he was doing this stuff for Galactus, he was not a happy guy. And I think that's displayed here. So I like what they did with this concept. It dives really deep into the character of Silver Surfer. Plus, it just looks badass. Let's not lie. So on the extreme scale, I think we give the concept a 5 out of 5. It's rarely been done. Badass for sure, and it has a lot of the X factor we'll talk about at the end of this review. Now with design, there's also some cool stuff, and then some stuff I'm not a fan of. So first, before we dive into that, here's the unboxing and assembly. Three huge boxes. Two of them were pretty small and pretty light. The first small box just contained Surfer's body. You can see the cutout right here in the black foam. It had a little bit of a, I wouldn't say art box, but outer box with it. Second one, this contained the light up effect, or the cosmic effect we'll look at. Very light. The third box was the heaviest one. You can see the bottom sticker there because it's a kit. On top of it, you see the surfboard, or surfboard as Mrs. X calls it. The hand in the bottom. Then right below the surfboard was actually one of the switch out options we are going to look at. Now, before we look at the display options and get the measurements, one thing I want to show you guys is he can be displayed from a number of ways. I think this is the way I like it best. Not only display options, but the way it's facing. As you see, you can kind of face him almost any way. Now, there's pros and cons to each one for sure. Like here, you don't really see his face. So I probably wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do anything where he's facing towards the back. But it's kind of hard to decide what the actual front is. So we're going to go with this being the front. So that means the widest point of this statue, please be under 27 inches, is maybe 27 inches. It's going to be really close. The tallest part, we are just under 26 inches or so. And we'll call it the deepest part, kind of hard to tell because not everything's on the bottom, is about 24 inches. I'm actually putting this in a Magicase Max 70 centimeters, which is about 27 inches, 28 inches. So that's why I was a little concerned. Now there's a few different display options. First, right here, you can have him sitting on Galactus's hand, as I do. Or you can replace that port on the bottom and you have this cosmic power effect coming up. Now I think this is a good option, but I'm just not a fan of it, to be honest with you. It doesn't make sense in the storyline. We'll see what kind of cool cosmic energy Mrs. X paints that. As you see, it has a light up feature. Now they did give you a remote to turn on and off the light up feature, but I can't get it to work. Of course, not a problem because I'm not displaying it with the light up feature. Now Silver Surfer is all one piece because you don't want any seam lines. His board is supposed to be on his hand here. However, it is optional. Check it out right here. Now, two major design flaws I see, other than the fact the remote doesn't work for a light up I'll never use. Number one, I think the board's too skinny. Certain angles it looks okay, but it's too skinny. Now they couldn't make it wider because it wouldn't fit in his arms. They'd have to make him have ridiculously long arms, so I don't know a solution for that. The other issue with this is when you put the board in and out of his hand, it's going to scratch both him and the board. Now right now, not a huge deal because it's an unpainted kit. However, once Mrs. X paints it, especially if she uses chrome, I haven't decided yet, no idea what that's going to do to the statue. Also, I immediately downgrade statues when they come in unpainted kits only because I don't like that. It's a ton of extra time and money for everybody to do. So I think that's a negative. I still haven't painted my version 3 because of those reasons. Now, I am impressed nothing actually broke during assembly. However, one thing on here, this plate doesn't go down all the way. I don't know if it's supposed to. It bothers me a little bit. So overall, I give the design a 3 out of 5. I definitely think it's okay, but it's nothing amazing. Now, they did go really elaborate, so I'm keeping that in mind. Now, normally, here's where we look at the paint and sculpt. Obviously, it's unpainted, so we're just going to look at the sculpt. And also, if you've been around unpainted statues, or kits as they're called before, you know that the paint can really bring out the sculpt a lot more. It's very, very evident. So let's take a look. Now, not only will this be difficult because the paint's not bringing it out, but it's relatively simple statue. I mean, you have the anatomy of Surfer, which looks really well. He's a little over buff in the legs here, and his neck's a little long, but otherwise, you know, Franco, who sculpted this, does amazing anatomy. He has no junk. And, you know, a few surfers actually have toes. They went ahead and went with boots on this one. I think it depends on the actual concept of the statue. So I think, and granted, it's not boots, but solidified feet. I don't know what you want to call it. But they did a nice job. There's a few tiny veins in there I think they could have done without. His bald noggin. But the anatomy is strong, is very strong. A few things I would have done differently. But again, you don't want to, on a surfer piece, especially an unpainted kit, if you don't give it enough differentiation, especially if you're going to use chrome on it, you're not going to see anything, and it's going to kind of drown it out. His portrait here, I think it's the long neck that's throwing me off a little bit, but I really like this. His head's a little skinnier than a lot of the other ones I have, but this is more how I saw him in the comics, so I do like that. Be a good question on what color I want to do his eyes. So there's the ass shot. The board looks great with the lines in the middle. Like I said, a little skinny, but otherwise very solid. Even the details on his fingers look great. Let's try and get a shot here for you. And then you see some veins in the hands. So I think the musculature, not only is it done right, but I think it's accentuated in the right places. Galactus's hand, there's almost a lot of dead space. Because they made it so big, it's kind of curious, you know, how detailed do you want to get without making it look too robotic? And I think they chose the perfect amount. So in these dead spaces right here, you have a few indentions, a few scratches too, which I appreciate because if Galactus has been around for such a long time. So see those scratches that are in there? And I'm really deciding whether I want Galactus to be more of like a shiny purple or just a traditional purple. But on his fingers is where you really see the intricacies. Very robotic-like. It's kind of who Galactus is. So I think they did the perfect amount of sculpt on the hand. It's not overpowering where it takes away Surfer, but it's not too much where it's all dead space. Going to be looking at a lot of pictures of Galactus's hands. Going to be looking at the current one that I have, looking at the Sideshow maquette for reference on how we want to handle this. And then we'll probably, the base here, just for support, color that the same as well. Yeah, so kind of an interesting review here on the close-ups. But I like it. Now, Galactus's hand being so big, it seems a little plain, so I think the paint's really going to have to bring it out. In Silver Surfer, as we talked about, you know, his anatomy is good. I think they didn't, you know, go overly muscular. Like recently I did this Silver Surfer right here, which I think was too muscular. I think the sculpt's a 4 out of 5. Really hard to judge, as I said, an unpainted kit. All right, so let's talk about value of this. This was a very expensive piece. I'm going to let you know right now, even though you get a lot for it, it was too expensive in my mind. It was $1,800 plus shipping, I believe, was another $400 or $500. It was crazy. So you're almost $2,300 into this statue, and it's still not painted. Now, a lot of these other Silver Surfers, that version 1 and version 2 especially version 1, go for outrageous amounts of money. This is probably my second favorite, so I like this just behind version 1. So I definitely think I could get my money back. This is going to be highly sought after because it just really is awesome. But I'm still going to give the value a 3 out of 5. You know, if you don't have a painter locally, you have to pay for shipping multiple times. So if you want this painted, you're probably $3,000 to $4,000 all in. And that's really tough for a 1/4 scale statue, especially with so many Silver Surfer options available. Now, we talked about this earlier, but does it have the X factor? Now, that's my own category. It's just, is this banging? Is this absolutely fantastic? When you look at it, does it blow your mind? Of course it does. Even this is a really good angle right here, by the way. I think this is a 5 out of 5 statue. I'm very impressed with it. I don't know if it's my second favorite Silver Surfer statue, but it's definitely in the top 5 for sure. And like I said, of the versions, this is definitely my favorite, and I think they're going to come out with a version 5. Really excited. Now, these are sold out. I can't give you any information where they're from, but what I can do is ask you to comment below. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. But guys, every time I say thanks for tuning in, I really mean that. Thank you. Please drop me a like on the way out. If you want to see Mrs. X do some paint up work on this, check out the social media sites I talked about. In the meantime, check out some of these other videos and subscribe for future content. Take care.